Hello to all of the wonderful people out in Maryland's beautiful 8th Congressional District. It is Jamie Raskin coming at you on this Friday, November the 13th, the week when we observe Veterans Day. And our local hero this week, for my favorite time of the week, is an amazing Silver Spring resident who is a doctor and a retired Navy captain. Dr. Captain Robert Koffman, who is the vice chair for Montgomery County's Veterans Affairs Commission. And first, let me just start, Bob, by saying congratulations to you on being our local hero. And it is such a special treat to have you with us today.
Thank you, sir. I'm honored to be recognized.
Well, I got to say, we usually don't dwell on people's resumes here because it usually bores people to death to hear their resumes. But I got to take 30 or 45 seconds to tell people about your really dazzling career, if I can. You are presently the vice chair of our Montgomery County Veterans Commission. You are also an ambassador for Prevents, which is under a presidential executive order to champion the cause of mental health and suicide prevention for people in the military and for veterans. You are a passionate advocate for animal-assisted therapy for veterans, and you've worked with the Warrior Canine Connection to promote dogs as companions and as stewards in helping people find their way back to mental health. You yourself are a decorated veteran of the armed services. You had a 32-year career as a naval medical officer, and you were deployed to Operation Desert Storm, to Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom. You have provided behavioral health care services for service members in lots of different combat and peacekeeping operations. You have won numerous distinguished awards, including the prestigious USS Patriot Award for significant and enduring support for wounded warriors and their families. So anyway, that just scratches the surface. You've done remarkable stuff. Tell us about your passion in being an ambassador in this program and the whole cause of suicide prevention.
Thank you, Congressman. As I mentioned, it really is a pleasure and an honor to be here speaking with you today and talking to your listeners and our citizens of Montgomery County and beyond, to really talk about the importance of the work that we're doing with Prevents. Prevent stands for the President's Roadmap to Empower Veterans to End the National Tragedy of Suicide. And we saw a significant rise in veteran suicide early in these long wars, keeping in mind that we are still at war technically after 20 years. This is the longest war that this history of this nation has known. And service members, particularly veterans, have paid a very dear price. And so all of us veterans really understand the importance of taking care of one another. And as long as there are unnecessary deaths, and the statistics continue to be in the 20 to 22 number each day of veterans taking their lives, which is tragically still 1.5 times the incidence of the adult population of non-veterans. As long as there's this disparity and veterans are suffering, I'm on board with anything I can do to help save those lives.
Well, I really appreciate that. You know, I spoke to a veteran who shares a similar passion for suicide prevention. One of the things he told me was really interesting, which is that it's so important for people to intervene early if they see things, you know, headed south for someone, because if you can stop them on the day when they're feeling really down, if you can prevent them, you're likely to have saved their life for a long, long time, if not for, you know, their hope for the next 50 years, right? It's not like people are trying every single day to commit suicide, but it's at moments of intense anguish and weakness. Is that right?
Congressman, yes. In fact, I'm reminded reminded me of a passage from scriptures, from the Talmud, actually, that goes something like this: he who saves a life, it's as if he has saved an entire world. So you're really talking about so many worlds that that we could possibly be saving. Indeed, the opportunity to help somebody is really what the Moments to Reach campaign is all about. And this is part of Prevents, wherein we're asking individuals to post either through a video or a short posting about a moment that they either were brave enough to ask for help, or alternatively recognized in someone that they needed help. And that's really what needs to be done, is to destigmatize this act of asking for help and having the courage to really ask some simple questions. And so if the listeners and viewers could actually just look at the reach.gov website and look at the toolkit, there are wonderful tips to save lives, as well as to how to post your story. And so I really want to make sure that that's one of the foot stomping moments for this presentation, that individuals know about reach.gov.
Now, Dr. Koffman, in addition to everything else we've been talking about, you are also the senior medical advisor, if I've got it right, for the Warrior Canine Connection, which is a group I know well, which has been procuring these dogs that help people emotionally, psychologically, physically get through the day and get through different traumas they're having. Tell us, how did you get into this? And is this something, a new trend, like in the Afghan war and the Iraqi war, or is this something that's been going on for like centuries, or is this really a new focus within the field of medical treatment of veterans?
Dogs have been man's best friend, characterizing the best in the human-animal bond for 30,000 years. We have co-evolved along dogs, which is why any of your viewers who are dog owners know that how well that dog knows them. Dogs are particularly suited to really help us. And my fascination has really peaked with the work that I've done in the human-animal bond. The idea that animal-assisted therapies, and I'm talking specifically about service dog placement, can help a wounded warrior as much as evidence-based blue ribbon treatment, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, is really quite amazing. And in fact, there have been some studies from out of Purdue that have shown that individuals with service dogs have as much symptom reduction in their post-traumatic stress symptoms as if they had also been through cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the gold standards. What's remarkable about Warrior Canine Connection is it's not just the act of placing a service dog, because we are, the number of service dogs that are needed is tremendously higher than the number of veterans that need dogs.
Is that right?
2 years to train a full-up service dog. So Warrior Canine Connection has quite, I think, imaginatively and brilliantly evolved the training of the service dog as the active intervention, as the therapy, calling it a mission-based trauma recovery. Individuals who spend time with dogs, even if they're not necessarily their own dogs, actually improve as far as their affect regulation, the ability to modulate their own feelings. You know, dogs are really pretty smart, and if anyone has ever tried to train a dog, they know that a dog is not going to listen to somebody who is emotionally constricted and shut down. And of course, that's really what PTSD and TBI does to an individual. It really turns them off. It shuts them down, dead from the neck up, as we say. There's no way that that individual is going to effectively train a service dog for another wounded warrior without having to relearn how to utilize an entire portfolio of expressions and emotions again.
Wow. Well, we've got 2 dogs in our family, and I tell you, they have been such critical components of our emotional ecosystem during COVID-19. And we see dogs everywhere now. I mean, there are lots of people who got dogs during COVID-19. I think there's almost a run on dogs at the local shelters because people are desperate to get them. But I'm glad that you've, taken the lead in making our area such a force in the research on this and documenting, what a difference it can make.
Even, and I was referring specifically to service dogs in that instance because of the degree of their training. Of course, Ron is a service dog. He's my co-therapist. He's a facility dog and he's an ambassador dog. So Ron actually wears 4 hats. But just the act.
Is he with you right now, Bob?
Oh, he's on my foot right now. Yes.
All right, cool.
Which is something they're taught to do in terms of helping ground and center us. He knows I'm a little anxious for this broadcast, and so he's right here actually telling me, chill, it's going to be okay.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
But I really also want to mention the fact that even if individual doesn't have a service dog, having a pet is itself identified or associated with health benefits. Lower blood pressure, lower heart rate, better lipid profiles. Individuals who have a dog are far more likely to meet the 150 minutes a week of exercise, of walking, of aerobic exercise, only because of the guilt factor. I'm sure your 2 dogs are pretty good at staring at you and your family and saying, it's time for my walk.
Oh, you got it. Well, look, I could talk to you all day, but I got to ask you one more thing before we let you go, Dr. Captain Koffman. So you always seem to be on the cutting edge of beneficial psychological research. I've been reading about this trend of research into the possible beneficial influence of psychedelic drugs, I hope I've got the term right, on the treatment of different conditions, including psychosis and maybe even post-traumatic stress syndrome. And then I saw that you're linked with that in some way. Can you explain what's going on and what you're working on?
Well, thank you. And this is really a sort of a cutting edge area that not even a lot of mental health providers understand. Back in 2017, the FDA conveyed breakthrough status to both psilocybin and MDMA. Psilocybin for the treatment of major depressive disorder and MDMA for the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder. And only recently have studies been released showing that psilocybin is a tremendously effective medicine for even just single dose or one-time treatment for major depression. Similarly, there's going to be the phase 3 study on MDMA that MAPS has been sponsoring through Johns Hopkins and other university settings is going to release some pretty remarkable results soon. And I think that psychedelics have a particular future, as they had a past, maybe somewhat of a checkered past, because we didn't understand, quite frankly, how to use them. But I think science and research is really, and that's what I'm involved in right now, working in a research protocol, looking at the effect of psilocybin for depression.
Well, Captain Robert Koffman, Dr. Robert Koffman, Bob of Silver Spring, thank you for being with us. Thank you for your extraordinary service to our veteran population, to people in the military. Thank you to your service to the broader community. Thank you for bringing animals and human beings together. And for all of these reasons and more, you are our local hero this Friday, November 13th, 2020. Thanks for being with us.
I'm honored, and thank you so much. And I look forward to this important work ahead. May I just take the last moment and just ask all of your viewers to please sign the pledge on our website. If you, again, go out to reach.gov, the pledge is nothing more than an acknowledgement of your willingness to step forward and save an entire universe.
Oh, that's beautiful. We will go to pledge.gov. Is that right? Pledge.gov it is.
Reach.gov.
I'm sorry, reach.gov. Everybody go to reach.gov, sign that pledge at reach.gov, and we will participate with you in the critical task of suicide prevention and promoting mental health for veterans and everybody else. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, and stay healthy, Congressman.